helped establish the Master Recycler Program. We were part of the original bottle bill and various plastic bag bans around the state. We've got to participate and support legislation and programs around product stewardship, e-waste and reduction and recycling, and a myriad of other programs. In 2021, as we moved and saw that our efforts were really expanding beyond just recycling efforts, we're starting to think more about compost. We're thinking about reuse, and the fact that sometimes refuse is part of it too, right? Like not everything is always about the recycle model. Is when we shifted gears a little and changed our name to Waste Free Advocates, because we felt that was really the way that this space is all moving and this work. We've continued to be part of and backing and supportive of things like the Recycling Modernization Act of 2023. And then, we're also getting into a lot more grants and campaigns with partners, many of whom are here with us this evening to talk about reuse, both at a consumer level and at a different scale. All right. I'm gonna hand things over to Adrian to talk a little bit about our board and do some intros.
Amazing. Hi, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yay, amazing. Before we get going, current members would have received an email yesterday for our annual voting. If you participated, thank you. Everyone received sufficient votes for a 2-year term. So we're just so grateful that you were able to participate in that for us. I'm going to kick it off with the introductions. My name is Adrienne Wallace, for those of you who don't know me yet. I am the current WFA board president. This is my first year. I've completed a full year, and it's been incredibly wonderful experience for me. Outside of Waste Free Advocates, I'm the sustainability coordinator for a local construction company. And I'm happy to say that one of the main focuses of my role is materials recovery and waste diversion. So I get to do something that I'm incredibly passionate about in my work life and in my, side work life. So I feel very complete in that aspect. So thank you. I'm going to pass it on to Elena for a quick intro. Thank you.
Hi. Thanks, Adrienne. I'm Elena. I've been with Waste Free Advocates since 2019, and I'm currently the vice president. Outside of Waste Free Advocates, I've been a master recycler since class 64. That might have been around 2017. This year, I logged my 1000th hour with master recyclers. And outside of Waste Free Advocates, aside from that, I've helped a lot with Milwaukee Environmental Stewards Group. I help on my kids' PTO at Seth Llewellyn Elementary in North Milwaukee. And this year I'll be starting up as an Eco Schools Network Environmental Health Fellow. If that sounds fancy enough, I'll pass along to Jessica.
Thank you, Elena. Jessica's on. I've been involved with Waste Free Advocates since 2020, and I've been the secretary of the board for about 4 years, and continue to be really enthusiastic about supporting this group and this work. In my day job, I work on sustainability reporting and disclosures for a global company, and I've been doing that for about 3 years, but I have a long sustainability and waste background. I'm also a master recycler, so shout out to all of us in the room this evening. Go back to a class from 2010. Elena and I were talking about that earlier, that the magnet has come off my OG name tag. So I'm going to need to do a little repair on that one, and that can be one of my reuse wins. And then I am also a commissioner on the City of Portland's Sustainability and Climate Commission as well. And I will hand it to Tara.
Hey there, I'm Tara Kaniram. I have been on the board since 2019, and I've been the treasurer for the past 2 years. So that takes a lot of work. I also get involved in some of the policy work that we do, just try to help Julia out as much as possible. And then otherwise I enjoy hanging out with my 7-year-old and volunteering for Reclaim It. Love them. Anyway. Let's see, Zoe isn't here, correct? And Heather is not here as well. I believe Chris is not here either. Um,
Woohoo, I'm here.
I will, I'm sorry,
Emily, sorry.
Emily.
I was
Emily.
like, ooh, you're down to me.
Heather's here.
Heather was trying to get on too, so
I'm
Oh,
I don't.
here.
shoot.
Okay.
Why don't we pass it off to Heather? I think I heard her say she's here.
Hello. Yeah. My name's Heather. I work for the Pollution Prevention Resource Center, and I've been on the board with Waste Free Advocates for a little over a year now. I'll go ahead and pass it off.
I'm Emily. I just joined. I saw somebody from Waste Free Advocates. Actually, I don't know who it is, who was dressed as a banana at the farmers market, and it was so funny. And they were talking about food waste, and I was like, oh, that's totally my jam. Compost and food waste and soil and blah blah blah. And I walked over and I was like, "Who are you guys?" And they were like, "Oh, we're waste free advocates." And I was like, "I need to do this with you and the banana." And yeah, so that was really funny. So they had me at banana, and then so I've just started to join and kind of get more involved.
That's amazing, Emily. I was the banana. I'm so happy that we pulled you in with that great event. It's really great to have everyone. Before we move on to the rest of the fun for tonight, I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you. You'll probably hear me say it a million times, and hopefully it will reflect the deep gratitude that I feel for these people, every one of you here, and everyone who's not here. I hope it goes without saying that we need our communities. Um, Maybe not now more than ever, but we just need them always. And I really do, whether it's one person, two people, whatever the size of the group, I really believe that it's so important to nurture the connections that we do have and continue to build out those connections, in any way that we can. You never know what might spark someone's interest to connect. It could be a banana costume, as we've heard. It could be a flyer. It could be a Zoom meeting. It really can be anything. And I have seen that happen in this group. So just thank you to everyone who has supported from the sidelines, everyone who's here every day, making incremental progress, especially when that progress feels like it isn't really progress. We take, what's the saying? One step forward, two steps back, or however many steps forward or back you feel like it is. Um, but I think it's just so important to focus on what we can do, however small, and just keep going. So this space really is a space for that. And in my first year as president, and before I was president, I felt like this group really um, is a safe space for values aligned people to, put in the work that we need to reduce waste and, continue with all the things that we really care about. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for supporting us in any way that you have. And everyone is so important, but I do want to give a particular emphasis on our community building at WFA through an important person, Julia Bonheim, who many of you likely have been in contact with, seen, heard from, been emailing with. Julia is a crucial pillar of our group, and we really appreciate all the work that Julia does with and for us. She is our Director of Community Development, and we just want to say thank you. She's going to continue on with the meeting, and we're going to be hearing from a lot of wonderful people about some of the work that has been done and will continue to be done in Oregon. So thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. And I agree. I really appreciate you all for sharing your evening with us. Appreciate you for showing up. Um, I am Julia Bonheim. I've been with WFA since 2022, and previously I was the resource director. So my new title of Director of Community Development, that may be one of the first times I've said it out loud, is kind of it's a hint at what I'm more passionate about, which is creating connections and building community and building partnerships amongst us all. So one of the main ways I do that is through the newsletter. I think probably a lot of you are on our newsletter. Thanks, Margot, for loving my title. And yeah, so I've been working a lot on building out the community updates aspect of that. So if you have something that you want to share, I just want to put a plug right now that please email me. My email is on this slide here. If there's something that you think the rest of the community could really benefit from knowing, like an event or um, any sort of update, send it my way. Just start off by saying that. Also, I want to recognize that 2025 has been a really big year for Oregon with Recycling Modernization Act uh, not passing, but being enacted in June or July, sorry. So that's really huge for us as an organization that has our roots in recycling education. It means that we have a whole lot of new things that we get to learn about and share with everyone and help grow the understanding collectively. And then also it means that the MURE funds are coming. That is the Material Impact Reduction and Reuse Program. And so as reuse advocates, it brings us to a point where we can position everyone to best use those funds. And we're also trying to figure out how they're going to work. It should be released in 2026, a little bit more information, but it's basically a portion of the producer fee that they pay for their goods, which will go towards reuse. So it's really a huge moment that we're like on the precipice of. And the more that we can talk and build our community right now, the better off we all will be. So with that said, I want to say that this year we've always been involved in community engagement, but we've been doing it in new ways. We've been working with other nonprofits more. We've had more government collaboration through Metro and the city of Portland, which has been really fun. Um, we've found new ways of having forums. So yeah, let's just dive into this recap, get a little bit more nitty-gritty about it. Last February, we had our third celebration of innovation. We held it at the Eco Trust building. We used that event as a time to honor Senator Janine Salmon as our Community Changemaker of the Year. You can see her there on the left with her proud little plaque. Senator Salmon co-sponsored the Recycling Modernization Act, and more recently, she led the fight for the right to repair, which also passed. We also tried a new approach at this celebration where we had a deep dive on policy. One of those passed, which was the Better Bag ban, but a lot of them didn't, which is one of the reasons that we shaped tonight the way we did. We wanted to share that that's not just the end of the road. So we have we're going to focus on two of the bills that didn't pass a little bit later. Next slide, please. Yes, the Oregon Reuse Roundtable is kind of my baby. It's a virtual group for the leaders of the reuse movement. It's been going on since December of last year, so we've had 6 of them so far, and it's every other month. It's been kind of slowly trending more on the government side. I've been working really hard to get people from across Oregon represented. They alternate between like shares with the members on their challenges or we're trying to find little points of collaboration or updates, and then also doing more of like a deep dive on a topic to uplift everyone's knowledge. So, for example, last month we had the city of Eugene sharing about their reusable foodware system that they're bringing to large events, and we had this Zero Waste McMinnville sharing about how they just wrapped up a reusables program at their farmers market, and they diverted 13,747 single-use plastic items. So I know that we have a member of the Zero Waste McMinnville here tonight, and these little, they're not little. The big celebrations that we can all kind of share in with each other and see how it's done here, how it could be done there. That's kind of what that roundtable is all about. So if that seems like you are a leader in the reuse movement and you would like to be involved, let me know. And then on the next slide, I'm actually going to pass it off to Tara for something that we tried out for the first time this year.
Yeah, this was really exciting. And I don't know why I get to present on it because it really was Julia's baby and it was amazing. So on May 18th, we held a durable medical drive. And it was a really great collaboration between us and A Caring Closet, which is a nonprofit in Vancouver that collects durable medical equipment. And then we also partnered with ARC Portland Metro. So it was in ARC's parking lot. We had people drive through and drop off the medical equipment that they had in their homes. We got funding from Metro's Regional Refresh Grant, which was awesome, and it was quite a day. So we collected 3,061 pounds of goods that day. We actually had two of those U-Hauls that you see on the screen that were mostly full. The first trip was definitely full. The second trip, maybe not quite, but really close. So we collected 568 items that could be used by other people, and the value of the stuff that we collected was over $14,000. And I believe that's used value, not even like what people would pay for it if it was new. So it was just like a really inspirational and fun day where we collected a whole bunch of stuff that won't go in the trash. So it was great. And I think I'm passing it off to Elena to talk about a few more things that we did this year.
Thank you. One of our smaller projects was to participate in the DEQ Food Waste Prevention Week again. We did online project focus this time rather than an in-person. Our in-person event was the banana one that was mentioned earlier, where we all were dressed up for a die-in of wasted food. And so for our online effort, we wanted to focus more on creating content to teach some of the kitchen skills and food handling skills that can help folks to chip away at that $2,900 per year of household food waste that average Oregonian families are wasting. So we posted multiple videos on Instagram, reached a lot of folks, got to see some of their feedback, some of their comments, and we recorded even more stuff. So we've got some food waste reduction skills to share even beyond what was shared so far. Can't wait to do that. And let's do the next slide for community tabling. We did many events this year. We tabled at Leach Botanical Garden for two of their events, two of the New Seasons Market, James Recycling combo events, the Milwaukee Environmental Stewards Group sustainability fair that they hold in September in Milwaukee. This was their fourth year doing that, and it's an amazing event. If you haven't had a chance to attend, make sure that you are saving that weekend in September to go because they have a lot there, like more than you can even fit on their poster. But they were all excellent events, and all of them were such great places to have conversations with people who are super excited to hear about the changes that we get to celebrate for reusables that we can bring to restaurants to get our takeout food, polystyrene ban, refillables that are offered like refillable wine bottles. So there's so much happening in our growing zero waste economy, and our in-person visits cover all of those topics when folks stop by the table to learn about all that. So we love having those conversations. And on the next slide, the other half of our outreach and education piece is online, where we get to have probably 100 times as many interactions or opportunities to reach out and educate because there's just so much more access and larger groups. So that was partly why we wanted to do the online event for Food Waste Reduction Week. And similarly, we're working on growing our online communities. We wanted to thank the social media team at Reclaim It. If you're not following their Instagram, it's a great account, and they show videos of their truck being unloaded and all the cool stuff that they're salvaging from the dump. And they helped share out when we shared the Metro poster about reusables, or not reusables, recyclables, and the changes to what's allowed in the curbside bin. Um, Reclaim It shared the poster from our account, and we uh, just about doubled the size of our Instagram followers. So this is all wonderful growth happening. And if you are still on Facebook, that's one of the places where we're trying to grow our Oregon Waste Less group, which can serve as a kind of a meeting place for all the folks who want to take the Master Recycler class, but they don't have the time to devote 6 Tuesday nights to it and weekends. So that's like the super short explanation, but we're growing that group too. So please help us grow it. And for the next slide, I think that we're passing to who's taking it? I think Julia again, or Tara.
Julia.
Yes, I'd love to talk about this. This just happened. Um, we tried something for the first time. We did a high volume bottle drop with the OBRC. So I led a brand new recycling effort at the Cascade Equinox Festival in Redmond, Oregon. Um, Previous to that, it's their third year, and they had just been landfilling the bottles and cans. So there was a lot of improvement to be done. And what really made it possible was a partnership with Deschutes County and their event cycles, which was something they just got a grant to do. And you can see there on the left, there's a really neat brand new recycling bottles drop spot. And so we were putting those together with what they already had on the fairgrounds, just like big old canisters. So it really made it clear. And it's all about clarity of message with these things. And the festival goers responded pretty well. The contamination wasn't too bad. And then on the right, you can see we had this sorting station. You can see Tara in the back there. Um, we came up with these systems with these kind of, they started calling them stretchers, I think. So we did all this sorting. And in the end, we recycled 21,765 bottles and cans and made $2,130 in deposits, which um, was donated to WFA. So that was a neat new initiative that maybe we'll try again in a different way. Um, in addition to that, we had a giant dumpster of mixed recycling that I think we successfully got to be recycled, and a few big containers of like large glass that we just brought to the transfer station. So it was just a really neat new way to have a little bit of impact out there, and it was a great boost for WFA. And then you've been hearing about Oregon Reduces for a while now. This last year, we benefited from the Portland Clean Energy Fund's mini grant. So we received $5,000 to spread the word along 82nd Avenue with restaurants there about Senate Bill 545, which allows restaurants to accept customer-owned containers. We'd already been doing that work for some time, and pretty quickly, our volunteers we got the feedback that we just needed better outreach materials that could explain what restaurants needed to do in order to comply with the law. So um, that was a great opportunity. It meant that we got to partner with Metro and the city of Portland to develop these outreach materials over the course of the next couple months. And we worked on a standard operating plan, which is what they needed. They needed to have a written plan in place to show how that they would avoid contamination, have a contamination-free process. So we developed that, and then we brought it to 9 food establishments and had a roundtable for feedback and ended up doing a canvassing on 82nd Avenue. And in addition to that, we had the Milwaukee Environmental Stewards Group do their own outreach, which Elena is also part of, and so you see her there on the right. And they signed up 12 food establishments to agree to accept reusable containers. So that's something to keep in mind if you know of any groups that might be interested in like partnering up for an in-person canvassing. That's the direction we're going to go, is all getting together and canvassing as a group, which brings us to 2026 and some of the good stuff that we're looking forward to. Um, Yeah, you see, I think actually we'll just slide forward and get into them. I wonder if Dina Hastings is there. Dina is Metro's Waste Reduction Program Manager. And oh, great. Yeah, so out of that partnership, out of that work with Metro, we ended up getting to build a partnership with the Choose to Reuse campaign that they just launched. So I thought Dina could maybe share what that partnership will look like.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here. Yeah, we're really excited to be partnering with Waste Free Advocates. We have 3 projects lined up for the next year and a half or so. Um, Probably the easiest one, I shouldn't say easy, tabling events to spread the word about Choose to Reuse. And Choose to Reuse basically focuses on trying to reduce single-use serviceware in food establishments and increasing reusables. We are working very diligently to try to elevate that and interest businesses because, we want to be able to tout that, but we don't have any money and we can't incentivize businesses. So we're waiting for the mirror funding as you are. So 2 other focuses that we have are the consumer owned containers or BYO program for short. And then also the polystyrene ban that Portland has had in place for a long time, but the rest of the region, the metro region, is still trying to catch up on that. So, and obviously statewide. So the second project that we're working on to really spread awareness around the BYO program with Waste Free Advocates is canvassing in identified business corridors across the region. And then thirdly, looking at piloting three projects with interested businesses that would like to implement some reusable materials by substituting or taking place of some single-use items. So hopefully those will be a really good proof of concept for us to get some mirror funding so we can expand that project so we can help other businesses make it not so scary and not such a commitment in terms of finances. So hopefully we'll get some good data out of that. So stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have lots of stuff to report back around that.
Yay, thank you, Dina. Yeah, one of the pieces of that puzzle is we're going to do a video of a case study, one of those restaurants. So we're going to show what it looks like when they replace their single-use plates or cups, or we'll see what we get and with durables and how that impacts their business and their customers as well. And I want to just stop and pause and see if anybody has any questions, or we've just been chatting. We talked about all of last year. We talked about Choose to Reuse campaign. Is there anything that anybody wants to say out loud? Make space for that. No pressure.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, Bryn.
I've not been here before. This is Bryn. I'm from Zero Waste McMinnville. It was based on what you were just talking about, the case study. Is this going to be a restaurant that 100% switches over?
I think we're going to see what the warm kind of what warm leads come our way, who we're meeting. We really want to have a good example of like different kinds of food establishments. So that's something that we're considering when we're choosing. I'm not sure, Dina. I don't think that we have a rule about that yet. We're going for the highest impact with the most diverse 3 that we can get. I think that's
Yeah.
criteria.
Yeah, I mean, it's $500 sort of stipend for each of them. So I don't think you can replace probably all. I think it's just looking at what a restaurant food establishment has and what makes the most sense and would be the least impactful for them. I think that's the way that we're just going to frame it. So it's not so scary. We can actually get interested businesses because right now it is about trying to have that proof of concept and have local businesses be able to sort of showcase that and show the journey. And so I think with the video and having just a handful, hopefully will be enough to like make it not so scary for other businesses to replace some or all of their single-use items.
Thank you.
So if anybody has a suggestion, if you're out there in your favorite restaurant, but they're gosh dang it, they still have those plastic cups, let us know. Anybody else? And also, Bryn is the one who was leading the reusable uh, pilot, not pilot, it's beyond pilot in McMinnville. So, is there anything you want to add to that?
So so the reason that we got up to almost 14,000 diverted was because we included not just dine and dishware, but we included tasters. So we got like tasting spoons and little mini cups, and sauce cups, and shared it amongst about 30 vendors each week. And we also had takeout containers. So we started last year, we started a program. We brought a company over basically. She's in Minnesota and it's called Foreverware. And we got 5 restaurants in the last year to use reusable takeout containers. And so customers check them out with a refundable deposit. And so we brought it also to the farmers market so people could use that as well. So we had kind of a 3-part system, and that was really helpful, I think, in getting the numbers that we got. So thank
Awesome.
you for having me here today, though. I'm very excited to meet everybody and hear all the amazing things that are happening.
Yay, great. Okay, so then we also, Hillsborough reached out to us. They have the Hillsborough 2035 Community Plan, which is they crowdsourced, they did a lot of outreach in the community and came up with these actions that they wanted to see happen. One action in particular read, promote participation in programs that help reduce the sale and use of single-use containers. So they thought of us, which is awesome. It really aligns well with the Choose to Reuse partnership. We're going to be able to go there in fall of 2026 and align our canvassing effort in Hillsborough. We already have some really neat collaboration happening with the Hillsborough Downtown Partnership. And so it's just kind of been this nice, it just came together very well. So we'll be doing that with them. It's a 3-year engagement. And then brand new WFA is chairing the Reusable Portland Coalition. That was just established in July. It has more of a policy focus than we've been really doing in the last couple of years, policy forward. Our goal is to establish Portland as a leader in urban reuse food and beverage initiatives, and we're focused on reducing single-use products, packaging, diverting creation of waste through circular economy. So we're doing we're having kind of a nimble steering committee of a small group. So it's ourselves, it's Ravino, who does the reusable wine bottles, Okapi Reusables, doing takeout coffee cups in cafes, and the Story of Stuff. And we're going to be working on building an endorsing member list. We already had a letter that went to the DEQ about the RMA, so we'll be doing more like sign-on opportunities. And as this grows, we'll probably be reaching out to a number of you to see if you want to sign on as a member, as an endorsing member. But in addition to that letter, our very first action is the Portland Reuse Summit, which is going to be this November 21st. It's an all-day affair. It's going to be at the Kennedy School. It's for really bringing together policymakers, city leaders, city and metro, also the county. We're hoping to have all of that represented. And then the business and restaurant industry, the reuse service providers. We're looking to position how reusable foodware systems can be a solution for climate and for litter and for growing the business sector. So we're very excited to be having that conversation, and especially before the Mira funds are released so that we can kind of build together, look at a roadmap for reuse and reuse policy and all of the little things that you can do that don't involve policy as well. So it should be a really engaging, awesome day. I know that I'll be seeing some of you there, which is cool. And that brings us to our panel, which is Life After the Death of a Bill.
Hey, Julia. Just briefly, if anyone's interested in the Portland Reuse Summit, how can they just reach out to you directly, or is there a registration link?
Yes. Yes and yes. And I'll put the registration link in the chat. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, cool. I think that's looking like it's going to be a good activity. All right, so next we want to spend a little bit of time talking about life after the death of a bill, which is, might sometimes feel a little hard for those of us who invest time or energy or our emotional well-being into some of these activities and potential legislation. But we wanted to kind of give a little insight into, what happens that there is no away when it comes to policy, just like there is no away when it comes to trash. So we'll take a little time to talk about that. We're going to hear from Anya Brandon on microfiber and machine washing bill, and also Brenna Stevens on the food waste prevention bill. Anya Brandon, Dr. Brandon, as a director of plastics policy and at Ocean Conservancy. She works there to advance policy solutions at the state, federal, and international level to prevent plastics from becoming pollution in the first place. She is an engineer, material science expert, and earned her MS, BS, and PhD in environmental engineering and science at Stanford. And before joining Ocean Conservancy, she served as a science fellow for U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley's office, where she was focused on plastics, chemicals, water, and other environmental policy. I believe Jeff Merkley has been in the news today a little bit for some of his work. So shout out to our Oregon representatives. Anya, are you here and ready?
I am, and
Awesome.
I'm almost certainly more well rested than our sitting US Senate. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. We can go to the next slide. Really quickly, I just wanted to share a little bit about Ocean Conservancy. We are an environmental nonprofit that is working towards a healthy ocean and a thriving planet forever and for everyone. And I think some of the best work that we do is in partnership. So we are really grateful for the collaboration with WFA and to get to work with you all so much. So we work at the triple planetary crisis of climate, plastics, and biodiversity loss. We are here to talk about the plastic side of this. We focus and think a lot about like single-use plastics and how we get rid of those, and like those are what's ending up on our beach. But microplastics are too. And so I spend a lot of my time also thinking about like the very little things that we cannot see. And it turns out, which you all might know already, but clothes washing is a major source of a very underappreciated type of microplastic, which is called microfibers. One scientific study estimated that between 1950 and 2016, 5.6 million metric tons of microfibers were released into the environment. And that is just mind-blowing to me. That is equivalent to 28 billion 28 billion t-shirts. Yes, sorry, I was trying to remember my statistic there. Like being released into the environment. And so it's mind-blowing that you can get to that volume of like such little things. Which also makes sense because like a single load of laundry can release up to 18 million microfibers. So this is a huge problem, and we have available solutions for it. So if you go to the next slide, you can see like we know what to do. We tried to run a bill to do the thing that we know how to do, which is put on existing filtration technology into our washing machines. Yes, we need to work upstream on using less textiles and like getting out of fast fashion. Yes, we need to better design our textiles that we do use to shed less. And part of keeping and using more durable textiles also means there will always be some amount of shedding. So like filtration is always going to be a good solution. It is a good solution today while we are working on those upstream things. It is going to be a good solution tomorrow. So that is what we wanted to work on. We had some great champions in Salem helping us with this, and as well as many folks on this call, to simply require filters on washing machines. The best laid plans, right? So all of these things are really hard. And we ended up facing really stiff competition or really stiff opposition in Salem, in part um, because we faced stiff opposition elsewhere. So if we go to the next slide, I kind of love this theme of like the death of a bill and like life after death, because of course this isn't going anywhere, right? Like if we all gave up the first time a bill failed, we would not have the RMA, we would not have all of these amazing policies that we have here in Oregon. So we are not giving up. Um, so some of the things that we heard about this particular bill, we heard from opposition was, safety concerns, which is kind of nonsense, technology readiness, cost, all of these things, which we have really clear data and evidence to combat. And data and evidence is not sufficient to pass legislation. We need people, we need power, and we need enthusiasm. So that's really what we're focusing on in the year ahead, is increasing the saliency of this issue, building up the public pressure campaign, like we have done with other plastics issues, to get legislation moving. So in the 2026 session, which you all might be aware of, it's a short session. So legislators are limited to only having two kind of priority bills. We worked with our partner in Salem, who's Senator Patterson, and kind of decided this is not ready for just rerunning. They have other priorities. We have some, additional work to do after this past year. So we're not going to run the bill this year and instead focus on that education, outreach, and campaign, really raising awareness both in Salem and across the state using, social media campaigns, media, targeted op-eds, talking to ed boards, things like that to really increase awareness. Because it never continued, it continues to amaze me how little people know about microfiber shedding from washing machine versus how much they are concerned about microplastics and hear about microplastics in the news. And so making that connection, I think, is going to be really powerful for us. At the same time, we are not interested in just like continuing to beat our head against a wall of opposition. So we are planning to update and socialize the bill with the folks who don't like it. We're in talks with folks at Samsung and Whirlpool and trying to get into contact with some of these other folks from the opposition to understand where the no is coming from, see if we can unpack it, dig in, get to compromise, get to consensus. And recognizing that might also fail. And that's why you have a pressure campaign in the background, right? Like you're doing both things at once, with the kind of goal of being ready for January 2027, and that 2027 session to reintroduce the bill. The last slide I have is just more information in case anyone wants to learn more about the work. We have this awesome toolkit that we put together with some partners that we worked on this legislation with in California as well. I think that QR code takes you right there. And we would love to keep in touch and engage with you all going forward. And we'll certainly be bugging the WFA team as we have, more tangible campaign actions and stuff to plug into.
I wonder if maybe
Awesome.
we should just do
Go ahead.
questions specifically for this bill first, if people have any, before moving on. I'm really glad to hear that you're going to reach out to us with any sort of action that we can plug through
Really.
newsletter or however.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, do you have recommendations for people who want to take maybe like early adopters who might be people on this call tonight who are like, I don't want to wait for legislation. What could I possibly do? What would you suggest for the home washer of clothes?
Yeah, great question. There I think these are all listed in this toolkit as well, in case I screwed up some of the names. But there are like this technology exists. You can buy it today. You can buy one from Samsung today. It just does not come built into the machine. It's like an external filter. But these external filters are out there and they are super effective. We're talking like 90% capture rates. So Filtrol has one, Cleaner has one, Matter. There's a ton of these really cool, like startup-y ones. They each are doing things a little differently, which is super cool that there's like a bunch of technologies coming out to all tackle this problem. So those are available. They run anywhere from like $60 to $200, which is not what it would cost if we put it like into a machine at baseline, of course. And they all operate a little differently. Some you clean out yourself. Some have little like pouches that then get replaced every X somethings. So there are a ton of them available. The number one thing you can do is wash your clothes less. I mean, you all might know this, but like we don't need to wash our jeans every time we wear them. We don't need to wash our sweatshirts. You definitely don't need to wash your like Patagonia fleeces every single time, right? So actually just washing our clothes a little bit less. And then when we do wash them, um, using cold water and less soap and detergent has been shown to reduce the amount of microfibers that we're shedding.
Thanks, Anya. You're going to make a bunch of friends telling us to wash our clothes less. I would love to do less laundry.
Yes, I was telling someone that recently, and there was a lot of like young moms in the crowd, and they were like, if only that was an option. I was like, I see that this might not be applicable advice to everyone, and I raise you, don't wash your jeans. We're gonna last longer anyway. It's gonna be better for everybody. Yes, Heather, I have a shelf. It's not a basket. It's like, oh, I could wear that one again.
Are you investing in influencers to try out these
Yeah,
filters?
we have a couple ideas in the works. We did, thanks to Senator Patterson, who was gifted two different types of these external filters, but legislators can't keep gifts. Our team has two different filters now, and so we are playing around with the idea of like giving them to an influencer and or having OC staff, which might be easier, um, using them and kind of like making little video series of like, you've collected your trash for a month. Have you ever tried to collect your microfibers for a month kind of idea? And then some of these like kind of startup-y companies are also working with colleges and universities now. And so we're like trying to plug into their network to see if we can get them to help um, with like videos and content in that way. Yeah, so we have I am not a campaign person. I am a scientist who is then turned into a policy person. So we have a really fantastic like comms and marketing team that has like audience mapping and this and that and all of those things, which I'm really excited about because I think, yeah, there's, when we first started doing this work, our comms colleagues were always like, oh, no one wants to talk about microfibers. They only know about microplastics. And I was like, those are the same thing. And the fact that we're having this conversation makes me worried. So we've got work to do. So I think we're getting over that hill, especially with, how much more science and research there is on the impacts of microplastics.
Anya, could I tell you one last thing before we move to the next one that came up in conversation with some other eco moms a week ago? They said that the amount of microplastics in our brains is now up to the size of a plastic spoon, up from the credit card size. And I said, gosh, this is sounding like that app that pregnant moms follow, where it says the baby's the size of a grape, the baby's the size of a kiwi, and you follow along and see how it grows. And I said, we're going to need an app that tracks the size of the plastics in our brains.
Yes.
So your comms folks could build that.
Yeah. I personally am not the biggest fan of that paper, from some of the scientific methods behind it, but we do know we are finding microplastics all over, and like that alone is enough to be concerned, regardless of like, is it a spoon? Is it not, like all of those things? So yeah, I don't love the idea that like it's an ever-growing amount as we just get better and better techniques. So certainly hope that helps motivate more action in the future.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Anya. Great discussion and great to hear that we'll see this hopefully resurfaced again and hear some calls to action for all of us. So we don't have to just wait around till 2027 and beyond.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we're going to talk a little about food waste prevention with Brenna Stevens, who's a zero waste associate from Osberg. Brenna works all across Oregon to help reduce waste by keeping single-use plastics from littering our communities, ensuring products are built to last, and stopping the senseless stream of food waste into landfills. She lives in Portland, enjoys hiking, cooking, and reading. Hey, me too. That sounds pretty good. Excellent. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am. Thanks so much for having me, and hi everyone. Yeah, again, my name is Brenna Stevens. I work with OSPRG, so the Oregon State Public Interest Research Group. We're a statewide member-based nonprofit that works to stand up to special interests on behalf of the public on a whole host of issues. And yeah, would love to just share a little bit more about our current campaign to tackle food waste in Oregon. It's one of our priority campaigns coming up for the next year, and hoping to reintroduce the bill that we introduced in 2025 for the 2026 short legislative session. And you can go on to the next slide, but why food waste? We all eat food. It's something pretty basic to our survival, which makes it pretty inherently valuable. Despite that, much of our food ends up going to waste. Here in Oregon, over 800,000 tons of food goes uneaten every single year, which is just crazy. If you lined up garbage trucks end to end along I-5 from the northern to the southern borders of Oregon, you could fill them all more than twice with that amount of food that we waste in a single year. So given the hard work of the farmers who grow our food, the truck drivers who transport it, the cooks who prepare it, and everything else that it takes for something to actually end up on our plate or a store shelf, the last place we want it ending up is in the trash. But that's what's happening with a lot of it. Less than a quarter of uneaten food in Oregon is composted. Most of it is dumped down the drain, sent to incinerators, or ends up in landfills, where it's creating massive amounts of climate pollution in the form of mostly methane emissions, beyond just being an absurd waste of something that we all need to survive, and something that actually many people in our state find hard to access. So our goal is to end food waste. Nothing that takes so much time, hard work, and so many resources should end up in the landfill without a thought. Food that's still good to eat should end up on people's plates and feed our communities. And where that isn't possible, it can feed farm animals or nourish our soil in the form of compost and be put to higher uses. So that's kind of a big feat, ending food waste. And we can go to the next slide. So what's our solution? We're not going to end food waste in the short session, unfortunately, but we are hoping to take a really huge first step in addressing that waste stream for our state. We know that over half of all uneaten food in Oregon comes from the commercial and agricultural sectors. So tackling food waste in these areas is a really good way to take a pretty big bite out of the problem. That's why OSPRG is working to pass a bill that would require some of the largest producers of food waste, like restaurants and grocery stores, food manufacturers, to donate or compost uneaten food. Food should be feeding people first, or being turned into compost to nourish our farms. And so we introduced a bill in the past legislative session that would have done just that. But unfortunately didn't pass. So in 2025, along with the bill sponsor, Senator Courtney Neron-Misselin, we helped introduce House Bill 3018, along with requiring large businesses to donate or compost that uneaten food. It would have also standardized food date labels like use by, best by, sell by. There's been some research that indicates that a good percentage of food waste actually just stems from the fact that people are confused about those labels. The bill passed through the House Committee on Energy and Environment, but ultimately stalled in the Ways and Means Committee and was never held for a vote. So our theory on what happened there was some opposition, namely from bigger food manufacturers, as well as just some logistical concerns that we needed to figure out with waste haulers. But it also just wasn't the number one priority for some of our bill champions in the legislature. So taking all of that into account, we kind of revamped our strategy moving forward into the interim and into the 2026 legislative session. So our strategy going forward is really just to show our decision makers that being a champion for reducing food waste is something that the public really broadly supports and will be a political win for them. So we're doing that in three pretty big ways. One, by building broad grassroots support. We run a year-round Canvas office out of our Portland office and work with student chapters on the University of Oregon campus and in Lewis and Clark. And then building what we call grassroots support, so getting a lot of local businesses, restaurants, and farmers on board with our campaign, and then working to just really elevate the visibility of the issue. So a little update on some of the things that we've been doing over the past couple of months. One is just our canvassing operation. So I spent most of this past summer running our grassroots canvas office out of Portland to build support for this campaign across the state. We had about 35 canvassers, mostly college students, who spent the summer knocking on doors all across the state. We talked to over 20,000 Oregonians on their doorsteps about ending food waste, and people really paid attention and were very supportive, enough so that we were able to fundraise over $750,000 on behalf of this campaign, and over 10,000 Oregonians signed petitions calling on the legislature to end food waste. So this was a really key tactic in building that broad grassroots support to set this campaign up for success going into the short session. And then we've also been organizing local businesses across the state to sign on in support of the campaign. This is another key tactic because, one, many of the businesses who will be impacted by this policy are restaurants and grocery stores, etc. So having their support is really key to winning this campaign. And this bill is also modeled after a program that already exists within the Portland metro area. So by canvassing businesses and getting their support, we've also been able to collect some anecdotal evidence heard from a lot of the businesses in the Portland metro area who are already composting most or donating most of their food waste, that the implementation has been pretty smooth for them. And then we also just know that this is a key constituency that our decision makers and our legislators really care about. So far we have over 50 businesses, mostly in the Portland metro area, signed on in support. And going forward, we'll be working to get even more signed on across the state in different areas and in key legislative districts. And then finally, OSPRG also, like I mentioned, has student chapters and clubs at the University of Oregon and Lewis and Clark, where we have students who are organizing around these campaigns on their campuses. So over the next couple of months, they'll recruit dozens of college students to volunteer, help sign on more businesses, collect more grassroots petitions, and organize events on their campuses. So those are just a couple of the ways that we're working to really double down on that grassroots, grass-top support and elevate the visibility of the issue going into the legislative session. And then there are a couple of reasons why we actually decided that we think that this is a campaign we can ultimately win in the short session versus waiting until the long session. So on the next slide, just because of all of the work that we've done to build momentum for this campaign over the past months, we think that we actually have a lot of the broad support that it's going to take to tackle food waste in the short legislative session. And then I've also been using time during the interim to be working closely with Senator Neron Misselin, our coalition, and a work group of stakeholders to really iron out the final details of the policy ahead of session. In particular, we've been working really closely with the waste haulers who, like I said, had some concerns around the bill last session, but we're hopeful that after we've been working with them, they'll actually be supportive in the next legislative session. And then over the next several months, we'll continue to fine-tune the policy to be workable and effective, keep building that grassroots support and educating the public around the issue, and keep working with local businesses and students to build even more support going into the legislative session. So I think that's most of my spiel. If you're interested in getting involved, please feel free to reach out to me. Our coalition meets kind of on an ad hoc basis, but I can drop my email in the chat if anybody's interested in connecting. And then, yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Brenna. That was really insightful. And I love hearing about, I think sometimes we think people are very like individualized and like knocking on doors is maybe not always feel like maybe it's successful sometimes. So it was really heartening to hear how much like big financial and just general support you all got from that this summer. That's really excellent. All right, Julia or anyone, what questions do we have?
Well, I am curious, you might have gone into this, but it's such a powerful group that you're part of, and I'm wondering like what the strategy is for deciding on your campaigns or when those decisions are made. What's the cycle kind of because it's so great to get the support of something like your organization.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of factors that go into deciding what we're going to focus on. A lot of the work that we've been doing in like the past couple of years has been largely based around reducing waste, just because we know that it's something that Oregonians really care about. We were really involved with passing the right to repair was our most recent victory that we were pretty involved with. We canvassed on that as well too, as well as reducing plastic pollution the past summer. So I think our canvas operation and actually just getting out there and talking to people and our members about what they care about informs a lot of what we decide to work on. And then also there was some interest from Senator Neon Misselin about working on food waste too. So it all just kind of came together in the past legislative session to work out well.
Awesome. And please let us know also what we can do to help spread the word.
So you said that bill was modeled after something that already exists?
Yeah, the Portland metro region has a policy that requires businesses who generate over a certain threshold of food waste per week to donate or compost it. And so it's been really successful. It's since it's been implemented in 2022, I think over 50,000 tons of food have been diverted from landfills. And so because it's been working so well, we're proposing to make that statewide.
And this is Dina Hastings with Metro. I'm happy to chat more with anyone who's interested in learning more about that requirement. I manage that as well as the Food Waste Stops With Me initiative that's online, that's a resource hub for businesses that supports that requirement. So if you have any questions, I'm here, or you can email me.
Do you want to drop that link into the chat, Dina? The Food Waste Stops With Me?
Yeah, that would be excellent. I think Dina left her email earlier in the chat as well.
I will. I will do that. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah. Excellent. Anything else on food waste? All right. Well, thank you so much, Brenna. Appreciate you taking the time, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you and continuing to spread the message. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Excellent. Great. All right. I'm going to turn things over to Tara, I believe, to talk a little bit about support.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. As you all know, Waste Free Advocates relies on support from individual donors, businesses, and grassroots organizations to support our mission. This past fiscal year, we actually had some fun diversifying some of our funding streams. So I was just going to talk a little bit about what we've done. And then also encourage you to feel free to give us more ideas or more support, whatever you can do. So yeah, we've been, as you've already heard, we've been working on a few grants and partnerships with regional governments, and that's always exciting. We had a couple of events. You may have come and joined us at Langers or Oakshire. Life of Pi did a roundup campaign and created a pizza for us, which was super fun. If you know of other restaurants that do this type of thing, we're always looking for those types of fun little events or roundup campaigns. Feel free to shoot Julia a message. Um, we always appreciate them. This year we did a business partnership with Leica, which was really cool. A couple of Julia and Elena went out and gave a presentation, and Leica sponsored some memberships for some of their employees. So that was exciting. We participate in EarthShare, 1% for the planet, and other workplace giving campaigns. So if you can use Benevity or Your Cause, we're on all of the platforms. As you've heard, we've been doing a lot with blue bags, and we actually got for the cute little bunny in the corner, we got a OBRC social media like award. So they gave us an extra $100 one month, which was fun. So if you'd like blue bags, let us know. We can get them. We always have them at all of our tabling events, so you can pick them up there, or you can email us and we can find a way to get you blue bags. Or if you have a employer and a break room where the deposit cans aren't going anywhere, you can consider Waste Free Advocates. We can hook you up with blue bags that you can then get to OBRC. That would be amazing.
Hey Tara, what's a blue bag? If I don't know what that is, is it different than a green bag?
Yes, it's different than a green bag. And honestly, if you use the green bag program, you can donate on the back end through OBRC, through Bottle Drops website. You can donate your green bag proceeds to us if you want, but blue bags go specifically to us. They're labeled for us, and you just fill them up and you drop them off, and we get the proceeds instead of anyone else. And then we love our PayPal monthly donors, yearly donors, any reoccurring donations. Like, you guys are our rock stars. So thank you for the people who do that. And you can always set that up on our website. And then we're also members of the Fred Meyer Rewards. So if you shop at Fred Meyer and you feel like throwing your community rewards to us, you just have to designate us in their system, and we get a check every quarter. So that's kind of what we're doing. And I think at this point, I am passing it off to Julia to talk a little bit more about becoming a member and some of the membership campaigns and business campaigns that we're doing in the coming year.
Yeah, so I'm thinking this QR code probably goes to a spot where you can donate, which is important. But I think I really want to share the next slide, which is detailing the low waste business partner discounts that we offer. So, oh good, the QR code is still there. We really want to make it low barrier for people to be a member, and something that we've been doing the last 2 years, this I think will be our third, is connecting our members with a discount to a different low waste business throughout Portland. It's a different discount that will come to your email each month. And we're trying to strengthen the low waste economy in Portland and keep it local. These are some really innovative businesses, and some of them have been around for a long time, but other ones like Secondhand Pet Supply, you can donate your used pet goods and then they'll clean them, they'll repair them, they'll put them back out into the community. So it's like kind of a niche thing. This month we had Reclaim It give 20% off to our members. So Reclaim It, of course, gets all of their goods from the transfer station, from the dump, and then shines it up and shows you how good the stuff is. So this is like just a really sweet thing that even if you donate just a few dollars, you can become part of. So that's the way that we want to give back to members, but also really grow the movement. And on the next slide, you will see something we're trying out this year. We'd love to see a business. We do have a couple of business memberships, but we're kind of changing the model. So if you know of a business or you yourself are part of a business that could do this, basically, if you have under 15 employees, we ask for like $200, and then you could give all of your employees a membership to WFA. Um, and then it goes on from there. So the employees can opt in, they can opt out if they want to, but yes, we're looking to increase the business membership side of things, partially because we try to keep membership so accessible to individuals. We think that this might help. And I think our next slide is Elena.
Thanks. And we're running slightly ahead of schedule. We're doing so great, everyone. I wanted to let everyone here know that we have room on our board for new board members, and that if you are here seeing our annual meeting, you're likely already the perfect board member to help us out. Because you're interested, this is the stuff that you're interested in. It's how you like to spend your free time and learn about and affect change. So consider coming to some of our board meetings to see how the board meetings go. You've had a chance at this session to see what all we've been up to. We're really busy. We have a lot of really great projects that we're working on. We hold our we hold our board meetings on Zoom, so it's very accessible even if you're not located right in the Portland metro area. And you can benefit your own community by taking some of what we're working on and bringing it to your community, such as like McMinnville. If you're wanting to have the McMinnville restaurants participate in the Oregon Reduces, you can benefit from using the materials that we've already got available, for example. So please consider joining us, and we will drop in the chat our board member info, and hope to see your application, resume, whatever we might be asking for. Send it in, and if you prefer to keep it light at first, like you're welcome to just audit the meetings. Our meetings are not private. You can come in to the meetings, just ask for an invite for that Zoom link. I think that's my pitch.
Do you want to talk about other volunteer opportunities?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Like the Oregon Reduces one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's have Julia talk about that one, because you can kind of specify when these upcoming trainings are going to be.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So we are kicking things off with the Choose to Reuse campaign with Metro, and we'll be spreading the word about Choose to Reuse. It will have our first orientation. Loosely, we're thinking it'll be in February or March. So we're having 3 virtual orientations, which will spin off into 2 canvassing opportunities each. So we'll be doing a canvassing push in March, in June, and then in fall of 26. So you could get your group to join, or if you're a master recycler. I should also mention that master recyclers get membership for free. So for 1 year. We wanna get in all the master recyclers. But yeah, please join us on those opportunities if you're interested. And then if you want to sign up for our newsletter, if you haven't already, that'd be great. And if even better, send it to a friend who might also be interested.
Mhm. And if you like the newsletter, and if it seems like exactly your sort of project, Julia's gotten very busy with all the program work, and we would love to have a newsletter writer. So if that's part of your repertoire of talents, it might be the perfect thing to jump in on.
Thank you both.
Mhm.
Excellent. think we've reached our moment of gratitude. Does that sound right, Julia? Excellent. Well, on behalf of all of us, I want to thank everyone so much for taking time to be here, especially out of your evening. I know our evening times is often very precious, so appreciate folks who are here through work or through just personally choosing to be here. It's great to see you. Folks are welcome to stick around, and we can have discussion, or if there's other questions, we're happy to take that. But I think we are at the end of our formal conversation for the evening.
Thanks for all you diehards still here.
Do we have anyone who came to the meeting who would love to grab our ear? If you had just a few minutes to give an elevator pitch for something you're working on or something you just want to let everyone else know is going on, who wants to grab the microphone?
Great to see Brian on the screen. How's it going? Brian's our former president of the board.
I did have something I'll say. So I'm down in South Florida now, and they don't have much going on here. So I've been telling them about all the programs in Portland area, like Master Recycler program and Choose to Reuse and all these other programs. So I'll be reaching out at some point. There are some efforts with zero waste going on that look promising. So, but the foundation is there, and I can point them to these things for them to get an idea of what's happening. So all the work that's been done over the years will be hopefully leveraged somehow.
Hooray.
Very exciting.
Yeah. More to come.
Right. All right. Well, Julia, unless you have anything else you want to cover, I think we can probably cut people loose.
No, thanks for joining. Looking forward
Thank you,
to
everyone. We'll see you around the emails and hopefully over Zoom or one of our in-person events over the next year. Yeah. Cheers, y'all.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.